As he tries to get inside, Wade throws a bowl at him, causing Winston to land on Spence's car. Alarmed, Spence fires at him, but Winston's body heals instantly. He charges at Spence, attempting to disarm him, and ends up severing his arm. A crowd gathers. Winston flees, and Daisy quickly retrieves the land deed she had signed. The police arrive, and witnesses describe Winston as a monstrous creature. One even claims he ate a baby and had a tail. Winston disappears into the forest to hide. The next day, Winston wakes up in a tent and notices a man nearby. The man introduces himself as Guthrie, and Winston introduces himself in return. Guthrie explains that he found him unconscious in the forest and brought him to the tent. "What happened?" Guthrie asks. Winston sadly explains that he is dying. Guthrie mocks him, saying, "Everyone is dying, so your situation isn't special." Winston mutters, "That makes me feel a lot better." Undeterred, Guthrie tells Winston he was once a doctor and got arrested for protesting his hospital's budget cuts. He tells Winston that life is unpredictable and advises him to spend his remaining time with the people he loves. Winston laments that his son thinks he's a monster, to which Guthrie responds, "Then show him your good side." Winston notices his mop, and Guthrie explains he recovered it from a nearby lagoon. Winston takes it and leaves to see Wade. Meanwhile, Wade watches the news, where a reporter mentions that a restaurant called Miss Meat has been taken hostage by an extremist political group called the Nasty Lads. The leader is furious about the restaurant's recent woke change of mascot from Mr. Meat to Miss Meat. Passing by the restaurant, Winston sees the chaos outside. Inside, customers and employees panic as armed men terrorize them, even taunting a blind woman. Police attempt to negotiate and ask the extremists to release the hostages, but the group responds by firing at the officers. Having had enough, Winston storms inside, turning the restaurant into a massacre and eliminating the group mercilessly. Outside, police raise their guns at Winston when he comes out, but a restaurant employee stops them, telling them that Winston saved their lives. The news quickly interviews Winston, asking how it feels to be a hero. He looks into the camera and replies simply, "Sometimes you gotta do something." Wade recognizes the phrase and the voice. The report also mentions that kids are already calling Winston the Toxic Avenger. Afterward, Winston retreats to a rooftop building to pee, only to discover that his urine has turned acidic. Meanwhile, Spence, still alive, points at the TV. Thad, furious, tells his henchmen that a small green creature is responsible for Spence's condition and orders them to kill it. At Robert's mansion, Robert reprimands Kissy and Fritz for Winston's mutation, pointing out that the mutated creature and Winston are one and the same. He then orders his employees to determine how Winston's mutation occurred. One employee explains that BTH's waste has always been toxic, but when combined with an extremely rare genetic marker, it can trigger powerful mutation. Robert tells them to recreate the mutation, but they say it is only possible if Winston is here. Robert instructs Fritz to kidnap him, but Fritz replies, he has a child. At the same time, JJ visits Winston's home. She tells Wade everything that happened, explaining that she believes his dad has the power to expose BTH. Wade corrects her, stepdad, and accuses her of dragging Winston into the mess. JJ insists he was already involved, as she saw him running away with the money. She reveals her mother died due to BTH's bio booster. Shortly after, the killer nuts arrive at Winston's house, prompting JJ and Wade to flee. One member plants a tracking device on Wade. Elsewhere, Wade and JJ encounter Winston. Wade demands to know what's going on. Winston admits the truth about his brain tumor and how he also tried to steal money from his company to pay for the medicine. Hurt, Wade questions, "You were going to die and didn't tell me?" Just then, Thad's gang members arrive and shoot at Winston. JJ grabs Wade and runs despite his protest to help Winston. Winston awakens, kills the shooter, and flees. The gang relentlessly pursues him, but he systematically takes them out. Meanwhile, the killer nuts tracked down JJ and Wade. They shoot JJ and kidnap Wade. Meanwhile, Winston, while searching for Wade, comes across JJ lying unconscious on the side of the road. He takes her to Guthrie. Guthrie tells him she's dead. But thinking quickly, Winston uses his healing blood on her gunshot wound. Miraculously, it works. At Robert's mansion, Fritz brings in Wade. Robert orders them to throw the boy into the shed, and they do. Inside, Kissy expresses concern that Robert's plan might be too harsh for the boy, but he brushes it off, telling her to trust him. Back with Winston, JJ joins him by the lagoon. She thanks him for saving her. Winston grimly explains that they took Wade to get to him. JJ nods and informs him that the last time they met was the night her mentor Mel was killed, as they plan to expose BTH. Winston, determined, says, "We will expose BTH for what they really are." Together, they head to Gonzales Park, where the killer nuts are performing their usual Friday routine. JJ disconnects their microphones, and Winston enters with a microphone of his own. He brutally takes them all down. The crowd is shocked at Winston killing their favorite band. Afterwards, he addresses the crowd saying, "The killer nuts are sick people who do dirty work, like killing for Robert. They all got rich, and you all got sick." Winston and JJ interrogate one of the killer nuts members, who reveals Robert's location. They head to Robert's mansion, spotting 2 guards at the front. JJ tries to seduce them, but both end up shooting each other. They move deeper onto the mansion's lawn and encounter strange statues. As they approach, the statues emit a gas, knocking both of them out.